All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 154-pound division and 147-pound division, where Errols Spence Jr. is reportedly scared to fight Jaron Ennis in his next fight and is looking to retire before getting in the ring with Jaron Boots Ennis, the IBF champion at 147 pounds. At least that's what people are saying. I'm telling you right now, I don't think that that is the case at all. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be talking about Errols Spence Jr., former three-belt holding champion at 147 pounds, who is going to be making a decision about his next fight very soon. It is now the month of July. He will be back in the ring in the October-November timeframe, presumably for a championship shot against Sebastian Fundora. After that, though, we have a lot of speculation about what he would be willing or not be willing to do. And the fight with Jaron Ennis and David Avenetian having shook him up and made him feel as if he wants to retire sooner than later. That's the word on the street that's being thrown at me. Now, before I get into that, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And if you're a longtime subscriber and supporter, you know the deal. Thank you very much. And shout out to everybody that supports the chat. Look, man, if there's one guy that ain't been scared to fight anybody in boxing, it's Errols Spence Jr. There has literally only been one person that Errols Spence Jr. said he would not fight, and it had nothing to do with fear of losing the fight and everything to do with the fact that that person, Keith Thurman, would not fight him earlier in his career, and he held a grudge about that. But other than that, there's never been a time when Errols Spence wasn't willing to fight somebody, unless they were somebody he considered not to be worthy of a fight at all, and legitimately, like, no tune-ups, right? And I've always criticized Errol for that. I've always said that I wish he would have tune-ups. I wish he would stay and fight more actively, but that's just how he's built. And seeing as that is easily confirmable, and everybody sees that, I have no idea why anybody would say that he would be afraid to fight Jaron Ennis. I do not see that. Jaron Ennis had a spectacular fight. Excuse me. Had a spectacular fight against David Avenetian, a mid-level European fighter who also had knockout losses to Terrence Crawford a couple years ago. Egis Kalvinakis before that, took a loss from Lamont Peterson in his first championship fight. But, the type of guy that's, has had 3 shots at major world championships and is 0-3. Not the type of guy that is really going to, inspire fear in anybody, no matter what somebody does to him during the fight. Terrence Crawford and Jaron Ennis included. But obviously, there's a lot of conversation about Jaron Ennis and what Jaron's going to do next. Most of the conversation is directed at Terrence Crawford, and rightfully so, because Terrence Crawford is the guy that is number 1 pound for pound on many, if not, on many people's lists. Should be most, should be all, in my opinion. And he's the guy that actually held the belt that Jaron Ennis had before Terrence Crawford dropped it. Terrence Crawford is moving up, and on August 3rd, he very well may be, more than likely will be, almost guaranteed to be the WBA champion, WBA world champion at 154. And that's where all of the focus has been for Jaron Ennis and people want to see Jaron Ennis fight. People are not asking to see Jaron Ennis versus Errol Spence Jr. other than Terrence Crawford fans that don't want that fight to take place. And there's a lot of Terrence Crawford fans that don't want to see Jaron Ennis fight Terrence Crawford. So the diversion is, hey, well, what about Errol? What about Errol? What about Errol? And my response is, what about Errol? Errol's going to go up to 154. He's going to get a shot against Sebastian Fundora for the WBO and the WBC belts. If he is fortunate enough to be able to beat Sebastian Fundora for those belts, then you know what the next step is. The next step is going to be a rematch between he and Terrence Crawford. So if Errol Spence is willing to go into a rematch with Errol Spence, if he gets past Sebastian Fundora, I mean, if he's willing to fight Terrence Crawford in a rematch, and he said he was willing to fight Terrence Crawford in a rematch before, why would he be scared to fight Jaron Ennis? Jaron Ennis isn't going to beat Errol any worse than Terrence Crawford beat him when they fought each other, right? So, I mean, it just doesn't set. Errol Spence doesn't seem to be that type of guy. He has a different mindset than Terrence Crawford has. Terrence Crawford is somebody that would say, no, I don't want to fight you. Without a doubt, and will be very, very blunt about it. At one point in time, he may switch it at another point in time, depending on who's asking him the question. But for the most part, it's very, very well communicated out of that camp that they're not really looking for a fight with Jaron Ennis for whatever reason. They could say that it is because, he's further along in his career. He's already solidified his legacy and all of that. Well, I mean, you could say the same thing about Errol. Errol doesn't ever have to have another fight again. His legacy is secure. He's a 3-division champion at 147 pounds, reigned for a very, very long time, sold out the AT&T Center in Dallas, Texas several times, has a very, very solid chance of going to the Hall of Fame. And people are going to understand that a lot of the later part of his career had a lot to do with the car accident that he was in. So Errol Spence could take that same logic towards Jaron Ennis. But if there were belts on the line, and I doubt very much that Errol would take that tone when discussing that particular situation. The truth of the matter is, despite these rumors, I've yet to see any statement from Errol Spence saying that he would not fight the guy. And this to me just seems to be speculation from Terrence Crawford fans that are trying to maybe divert the issue off of the guy that should be fighting Jaron, if either one of them should be fighting Jaron. And that's Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford not fighting him, there's arguments for why he wouldn't do that. Some people support him, some people don't support him. But I just do not believe at all this conversation about Errol Spence Jr. looking at a fight with Jaron Ennis and David Avenetian and saying, oh, no, I can't do that. I refuse to do that. He's too much. I don't believe it. I believe even if he thought he was too much, if the fight was offered and it was for a belt and that's what he needed to do, I think that he would take it. Anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.